Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance. And this resistance video is a sponsored video sponsored by Vincent for Natalia. And here's Natalia's story. Hello, Ollie. Thank you for reading my first story. And that was The Narcissist Puts Your Abuse on Display. It was strange to hear you tell my story that I have only kept in my mind for so long. First time hearing it, it didn't even make me feel anything. I felt like I was an outsider hearing some other person's story. I was smiling to some of your comments, and I felt ashamed. How could I be smiling to this horrible story? There was nothing amusing about it. I was thinking that I must be sick myself. A lot of mixed feelings. It took some time and watching the video several times to make me sink into my real feelings. And I also remembered more things about that day. I got the same depressive feelings I had as a teenager and young adult, and let's face it, even today. Those same feelings come up when something goes wrong. It's immediate. The regression back to those feelings. Not the things that happened in my past, just the feelings of sadness and loneliness. But nowadays I come out from it faster. I used to love to wallow in my misery. I don't want to go back into that loop of depression. So I'm venting here on your channel, Ollie, and hopefully it helps, and it has. But it hasn't been fun. Had some nightmares also that have been absent for some time now. I used to have nightmares since I was 6 years old. Used to hate sleeping. Had no dreams at night, or the ones I remember were running in the dark with dogs chasing me or falling into some endless hole. Now I feel ready to face some more shit that will evidently come up with hearing my stories being read by you. One thing brought up by my past abusers is that whenever I see anyone who looks like them, I have an instant get away from me reaction. I find those people disgusting even if I don't know them. Like in this case, the snake woman. Whenever I see jaws like hers on a woman, I feel the disgust. I remember her perfume smell. Or if I hear anyone laugh like my mom, it's a red flag to me. Or mom's perfume smell while I'm walking somewhere in public. The laugh, the behavior. Those are triggers for me, The weird thing is, my mother, luckily for me, my mother and father are pretty unique looking. They really don't look like other people. So I don't get the visual thing. Other than when I look in the mirror and see my mother's face and myself. I mean, that's, and I've done a video about that when you look like your abuser. But the hearing, like somebody cackling, like the way, like the cackle, that's always going to be a trigger. It's going to bring you back. Or if I smell cigarettes and old booze, it reminds me of my dad and his family. Even when I see dad's name written or spoken by someone, I just feel disgust. Yeah, the name. When you hear people with the same names, it always goes back. So there's always going to be something, to draw you back to those people, unfortunately, because they've seared their narcissistic branding into your brain. I don't think these reactions to certain triggers will ever go away. No, they're not. You're not. You hear your mother's name called by anyone, the first person you're going to think of is your mother. It's just the way it is. Same with all of us. All of us, I'm sure it's like that. One thing I've learned lately is when I meet a new person and they remind me of my family members or old friends that ended up being toxic, I just walk away from that new person. It's basically just the feeling that I get. Before, I used to think that people who ask questions and act interested in me are genuine, but I realize they are just collecting data about me. Being overly interested isn't a good thing. At home, nobody was interested in my life or what I wanted. So that must be the reason I found it flattering that strange people were asking questions about me. Well, not anymore. I become cautious if someone asks too many questions. I always get real cautious about too many questions as well. And for somebody, and you know, that's a weird thing for children that were ignored and neglected. But you get used to the solitude, and you just get used to not exposing yourself to anyone, where you see any question about you as an intrusion. And that could be a real problem. Because, like, at least in my case, you know, my need, okay, to just be a blank slate to my parents, so they could have nothing to humiliate me over, to expose me over, to say something I liked. That fear of humiliation for me was a driving force. And then you start to believe everybody wants to humiliate you. Now on to a more recent story about my current job, and any advice is very welcome. I'm about to change my job because of two narcs at my job. One is my supervisor, the other is my work colleague. Both are women. We work in a big company. The older lady in her 50s is my colleague, who showed me what to do and stuff. The first thing I noticed was her laughter. You know, that fake nervous type to fill up silent moments? It's not genuine. Firstly, I thought, oh, what a positive, happy person. But then I found it fucking annoying. It's not normal to laugh at everything. Yeah, I know these type of people who laugh at the end of everything. Every word, every sentence is a laugh, and it's annoying. But a lot of they can't help it. It's a neurological problem. And she especially laughs at her own comments about whatever everyday stuff. Then I remembered my own mom. She does that fake laughter and smiling to strangers like it's the best day ever, and that she is the sweetest woman on earth. My colleague also does that sudden freaking out at people if they ask questions she doesn't know the answer to. She turns into the attack mode as if she couldn't just say, I don't know. I could see how the dynamic goes. She fears her bosses but snaps at her coworkers. I was made to work with her alone. I think this was deliberate decision made by my narc supervisor. Yeah, because anybody who's look. Anybody who has that condition where they laugh at the end of everything they say, it's maddening. It's maddening to be around. I know people like it, and it is maddening to be around, because it's like every sentence serious, unserious, funny, it doesn't matter. It's everything they say. And it's a neurological thing, to be honest with you. And also, another thing she did was that she kept talking about this person called Mary, name change. Mary did this, and Mary should do that, and should or shouldn't do that. Then I realized it was her own name. I'm not good with names when I meet new people, and now at work, I met a lot of them being the new person there. So she talks about herself in the third person all the time. Also in group situations, she stares at me. I can see it from the corner of my eye. My dad and brother did that, so it wasn't new to me. Dad used to stare at our faces while eating at the dinner table, and brother does that while watching the TV. He watches your face, not the TV. My ex-wife used to do that. She would watch me watch the TV. Or it is the weirdest thing. It is really fucking creepy. To the point where my family commented on it. My brother's like, do you think she likes watching the show through your eyes? Because she would just stare at me like that. Like I was a possession. No wonder. Come to think of it, so does my dad. When I asked my brother, why are you staring at my face? The TV is not my face. He said, it's nice to look at your reactions to the TV programs. I started wearing hoodies and watching the TV so I couldn't see his face and he mine. I couldn't even watch TV in peace. Yeah, once I realized she was doing it, it was... So back to the colleague situation. What the fuck is she looking at? And especially when I talk or give my opinion to both of our bosses, she stares at me. I'm not afraid to speak my mind if someone asks it. I can be quite blunt. Then she stares at me as if it's strange that I can speak. I'm not a very chatty person. I don't have anything to say. I don't make small talk. But the final aha moment for me was one morning. We were gathering stuff in our workstation and she was talking about something loudly as usual. And then she passed me close by as if there wasn't any room. It is a big space and lots of room to move around. She touched my shoulder while she was telling a joke. This was okay, I guess. Even though I really don't like people touching me. Not work colleagues anyway, it feels uncomfortable. Then she moved her arm from my arm onto my butt and almost accidentally touched it. I was like, what the fuck is this bitch all about? I didn't say that to her. I wasn't expecting that at all. Fucking old pervert. Yeah, women do that to each other all the time. All the time, you know. They grab each other's asses, they grab each other's tits, they come on there they comment on each other's cleavage, and women are nasty, okay? Women are nasty to each other. From that moment on, I kept a wide distance from her, and she even tried to touch me on my arm once again, while telling some joke or something, and I dodged it. After that, she hasn't come close to me anymore. And also, I scheduled my breaks so that I don't have to see her during the whole workday. One day, when I went to my locker, my key didn't fit in. And I was almost 100% sure I closed it a normal way and it was working okay. Then I realized she did it. I just felt it. It must have been her. There was no one else using these lockers because only 2 of us worked there, and there are 3 lockers there. And also, that room is locked, and only our company and the caretaker and security has the keys to that room. So logically, it must have been her. She was mad at me because I didn't tell her I was going to take some hours off the next week, and she had at the same time a hearing about her work accident, which she didn't tell me anything about either. I don't want her to know my business. Right after her accident, she had a headache, and she still showed me her video on YouTube where she was an actor to demonstrate how she does her work. First, I didn't realize what this was, but later on I realized that she wanted to prove to me that she is better than me, that she is not a loser because of her accident. And she kept telling me that now everyone else at work are going to gossip about her. Her reputation was tainted as the efficient professional worker, and we both are office cleaners. Wow, that's some serious business. Oh God, she's fine, by the way. It was just a bump on her neck and didn't even leave a scar or bruise. No real damage done, but of course, some physical pain for that moment. The other narc supervisor, she is a gem. The first time I saw her, she said, "I'm not going to greet you with a handshake because I have a cold," and started telling how bad her cold was. I didn't have a say. The only thing I managed to say was hello, and off she went. And the second thing she said that I remember was, "You look so young, even though you're older than me." What? Not again. I seem to meet a lot of women who have a problem with my appearance. They always start to demean themselves. It is uncomfortable for me because what the hell am I supposed to say to these type of comments? Women just start sizing each other up. I mean, this is unfortunately what happens with women in the workplace. Even if doing something as you know, as where you're wearing a uniform and doing office cleaning, there's still a competition. No, don't say that. You are pretty or what? Usually I just smile. And then the other thing women say to me is, "You're so small, tiny, or skinny." It's literally their first comment. Okay, that's a nice way to start a conversation. Yes, I am small. I am supposed to feel guilty about that. Am I supposed to feel guilty about that? And also, the same narc supervisor said while we were picking up work clothes, "You must be this size," and showed me some small ass trousers like I was a fucking stick. Then she said, "I used to be as small as you when I started working here about 5 years ago." I hate working with women. No, let me phrase that. I hate working with women with low self-esteem. You should be always assuring them and boosting their ego by compliments that I don't give them. It's not natural to me. And at the same time, feel guilty about your own appearance. And that must be one of the reasons why I haven't had a lot of women friends, because I can't be fake. And this also reminds me of my mom. She used to brag that she was so skinny when she was my age, while I was in my 20s. And that she didn't eat almost anything when she was a student, and that she was even underweight. Until this day, she brags about how little sleep she needs and how little she eats. Once we were on a bus, she tells me again how she doesn't eat anything at work, and how her colleagues say that how do you live without eating? She just drinks lemon water. But at home, she eats, of course. She just needs to broadcast it like anyone cares if she eats or not. I don't. But still, she keeps repeating it over and over again. How she eats and how little she eats and how little she needs sleep. And mocks my need to sleep over 8 hours. So back to the narc at work. This narc supervisor also hadn't been able to make a paycheck without some kind of error, unpaid days and so on. And she even tells the pervert colleague about me reporting about the missing salary. It's as if it's any of the pervert's business. And I also believe my supervisor does this on purpose and calls them mistakes, the fact they are missing payments. That information should only be between the supervisor and me and not be told to the pervert. My supervisor apparently asked the pervert that if she was really at those work days that I reported being unpaid. And the pervert said to me that she told my supervisor that yes, it was at those work days. Those are the words the pervert used. I am an it, apparently. You're always an it to the narc. That's how you're able to be abused like that. Because you're basically an it. You're always an it to the narc. You're nothing but a competition. The best way for a woman to feel better than another woman is to dehumanize that woman. Once you've dehumanized somebody, you can do anything to them. You're always an it to the narc. She used that before Also with the other face-to-face conversation with the pervert and our supervisor while I was present also. She is the boss of both of us, so much respect that I almost feel like royalty. And to top this, she threatened to null my work agreement because I asked for 4 hours off work, which I asked 7 days in advance. First, she didn't even answer my text. The next day I texted again, no answer. Then I called and she didn't answer. I left a voice message. Then about 5 hours later, she texted me that it is not okay. I texted, I am taking the time off because your answer came too late and I had made an appointment somewhere else already. It was actually a job interview. I didn't tell that to her. She then called me and said that she will fire me on the spot if I don't come to work that day. It was like, interesting thing you just said. I'm going to be gone for those hours no matter what you say or do. Then I said, let me think about this and I'll answer you tomorrow what I decided to do. Either to get fired or cancel my job interview. I was so mad at this bitch. She ignored my attempts to contact her. That is so unprofessional. I told her that I texted and left her a voice message, but she didn't answer, so I made my own decision. If I'm being ignored, that means you don't respect me and I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't think that is wrong. It depends what your policy is for requesting time off. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, as somebody who's worked for someone, because she didn't get back to you in a couple hours, and you don't get to set conditions for your employer. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. We ended the call in agreement that I will let her know the next day of my decision. I was pissed, but on the other hand, I was so ready to quit anyways. So a few hours later, I got a text from her. It said, let's talk about this tomorrow. She must have spoken to her supervisors. There was no one. And yeah, I don't think she probably doesn't have the authority to fire anybody on the spot, to be honest with you. There was no one to do my work, so of course now she wants to talk. Even she was kicking my ass to curve a few hours earlier, and now she wants to talk. The next day she came to our workstation and said I can have my hours off if I make up the hours. She had the impression that I was going to be absent the whole day. Even from the beginning I texted that I only needed those 4 hours. Isn't that interesting? She was acting all surprised that I was only asking for 4 hours. I have saved all the important messages as proof to back me up if it comes to a legal matter. I told her that she didn't answer my texts or calls. Her response was, I was in meetings all day and didn't know I had to answer right away, and then in the future I would. And I said that, like, look, you can't just put parameters on your boss like that. I told her that it would be nice to get any type of comment to text where I asked for some free hours. Anything, just okay, let's see. As if she is a boss of 100 people and has no time to respond back. In reality, it's about 20 people she's responsible for. Listen, 20 people is not a small amount of people to be responsible for. It's not. Then she started talking about how hard it is for her at work. What the fuck do I care about your issues? She's supposed to be the leader and she should listen to my issues, not the other way around. She told also that even her man is mad at her because she spends all her time at work. She managed to make this issue about herself, her family, her stress. And how should I feel sorry for her? I just smiled and listened for a while and then left because the pervert came barging into the room and went to the toilet. I left that talk with even stronger assurance that I'm out of here as fast as I can. They can taste their own medicine soon when I'm not coming to work anymore, or I could be evil and just not show up at all. I am alone responsible for the whole 5-story building with a very high level of security. The pervert only does half days there. I'm full time. We have signed agreements not to tell anything we have seen or heard in that building for about 37 years, if I remember it correctly. If we tell anything, it becomes a criminal issue and possible jail time. Well, I have 2 job interviews, so hopefully I'll be rid of these narcs soon. Thanks for reading this story. Sorry for swearing so much, but I just felt like it. Have a good weekend, Natalia. Well, look, the first thing I would suggest to you, Natalia, and I would tell you, is any type of housekeeping job, okay, there's going to be problems. There are high turnover jobs now. In the building you're in, it sounds like they're a lot more careful who they're bringing in. Okay, but I mean, you're working in a job function where they're already treating you like an it. Okay, and it's a really bad. It's not really a great function for you to be performing, because you're in an industry where people are basically treated like possessions, like cattle, less than human. It's dehumanizing. Not that there's anything wrong with housekeeping. It's obviously needed, and people have to do it. Okay? But for someone who's been abused, it's not really where you should be. It's not. Okay? Because people are jerks people are jerks in general towards housekeeping to begin with. You know, they love to look down their nose at you anyway. So you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball even doing that kind of work to begin with. And I understand you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Okay? And the level, look, I've dealt with a lot of housekeeping companies, working 20 years in retail, USI, ASI, Temco, more than I can remember. Okay? And it's just like they don't care. They just show up. That's it. They'll threaten you because they'll bring somebody in 2 seconds later. Okay, it's dehumanizing. And you're someone who's already been dehumanized. So you need to get to something where you can have yourself, because remember, you're always an it to the narcissist. So thank you for your story, Natalia. Thank you to Vincent for sponsoring. I really appreciate it. I hope this helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video just like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to help it succeed, grow, and expand, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.